Yeah, I don't know about that.
So you said last year at the bowl game that Brock you may have to do some different things. You know, he's going to be, the offense may do different things. What have you been implementing? Anything drastically different, or is it way too early for that?
Yeah, it's still pretty early, but I think with him and all of the guys that we have right now, pretty good athletes, you know, so if there's something that fits with being able to use those guys, you know, in a running game somehow, you know, I think that would be the next step that we would take. But they've also got to prove that they can handle that, and right now that isn't something that we've, you know, really ever really schemed up a bunch of things for. Done a nice job scrambling, keeping plays alive, and doing those things. So we know he's got some athleticism. Real's got some athleticism. It's a really good group of athletes, you know, in there. But I think we'll see where that stacks up, you know, in the priorities of how we think we can move the ball up and down the field.
I know you guys have talked about trying to find ways to utilize Real's speed and athleticism. What are the possibilities? How can you expand his role next season?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the piggyback on the last answer, when those guys can prove that, hey, you know, I can handle this and we can block it, and those guys can make good decisions, you know, out there in space, carrying the ball and being able to handle that, you know, I think that's something we'd like to do if we can, you know.
Has Brock changed or grown in his demeanor at all, having that foundation of last year and then coming in spring and kind of leading that unit?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, he's been pretty consistent, you know, since he got here. He's got a great work ethic. He works really hard, you know, every day. He's a great student. Works really hard in the classroom. I think this is new to him too. You know, he's never been through a spring practice before. You know, he was here a little bit last year as a high school student watching, but it's a new experience for all these guys, really, other than John Kolar and Real. You know, it's a young group, so it's a new experience, and they're doing a good job, working really hard, learning. But I wouldn't say Brock has changed much. You know, he's got a good approach to what he does. He's been pretty consistent.
Are you at a point where with Real, you know, I know the idea is if something ever happens, you want to have faith in that next guy, and is it to a point where you feel comfortable with him being that next guy in?
You know, he's working really hard, and I think he's getting better every single day. So, you know, that makes us feel better and better that he's learning, and he's doing a nice job executing, and he knows right now if we had to play a game tomorrow, you know, he's one snap away from being out there. And I think he's built some confidence where not only we would feel better about it, you know, I think he would feel better about, you know, having that opportunity if his number was called.
What does John add to the room in terms of a voice and just a resource for those guys?
The primary thing is that exactly. You know, he's a voice he's been through spring practice multiple times. He's been in a quarterback room that's been really talented, you know, where he was at previously. And he's had a chance to have years and years of watching and getting reps, you know, in a college football program, and nobody else in there has. So, you know, whether he's on the field taking reps or not, you know, he's doing a really good job of just helping those young guys with all kinds of things. You know, it's all over the board, you know, how many ways he can help them, you know, and off the field, this is how you handle yourself. You know, as a student, you know, he's a graduate student, so he's in a different situation, you know, than all those guys. But I think they look up to him, and he's doing a nice job for us.
Everybody talks about Real's running game, but Coach Campbell said that you guys are kind of focused on making sure he's the best quarterback since he is a snap away. Where have you seen him grow as a quarterback, as a thrower and decision maker since he got here?
You know, yeah, those guys got to throw the ball. You know, we're going to hand it. We're going to find some running backs that can carry it. We're going to hand it to those guys first, and we're going to try to develop some guys out on the perimeter and throw it to those guys. So the primary goal for them is to become better passers, and it's all about reps. It's all about reps. You know, there's nothing that you can do to mimic getting behind a line of 6'5", 6'6" linemen, you know, with a great pass rush and being challenged by a really good defense. So for him, it's about just confidence, you know, his knowledge in what he's doing and being able to play faster.
What does the next step in Brock Purdy's development look like?
just learning. You know, he's had a chance to have game reps, and he understands he hasn't been perfect. You know, and that's one of the best things about Brock is he doesn't have a great big ego where he thinks I'm at the top of the ladder. There's no improvement, you know, necessary for me. He's working hard at it, but more reps. You know, he's still really young, you know, making good decisions. He's getting challenged every single day by our defense, and that's the best thing for him right now.
Is it a matter of, because he's really good instinctually, it seems like, but to turn that into second nature at this level, is that kind of what you're talking about? Maybe the reaction is?
I think that's probably something that, you know, the natural things are probably not what we're working on as much. It's probably things, you know, making them, hey, you don't have to leave the pocket here. You know, here's a good pocket. You need to sit in here and go through your progression and trust it. And, you know, there was such a big learning curve so fast for him so early, and he handled himself really well. But he knows, and we all know, like, he's got an opportunity to become a way better quarterback than what he showed last year, and he's working hard at trying to create really good habits, you know, and he's doing a nice job.